Yo, what's good, people? Part 31 of Condensed Chaos by Phil Hine. Witches, wizards, warlocks, magicians, magus, and magi. We finished talking about the acronym SPLIF. Amazing acronym. We're now into Statement of Intent. So without further ado, let's do this. The first stage of the process is that you should get your magical intent clear. As precise as possible without at the same time being too overcomplicated. Vague intentions usually give rise to vague results, and the clearer the initial statement of intent is, the more likely you are to get accorded results. An acquaintance of mine once did a sigil to manifest a lover. Gave very precise details on how this paragon should look, what kind of car he should drive, etc. Needless to say, her desire manifested exactly as she had specified, and she discovered too late that she had forgotten to specify intelligence, and that her dream lover could only talk about himself and his car to the extent that she found him completely boring. That's hilarious. One of the byproducts of the process of deconditioning discussed earlier is that it becomes progressively easier to disentangle your own habitual patterns of thoughts and emotion, desires and fantasies. There is a popular idea that magicians are continually casting spells and performing rituals to bring to them all that they desire. This is a misconception of magic, and magicians tend to enchant for desires selectively and carefully, being mindful that hasty enchantments may often bring complications that were not considered beforehand. As the above example shows, here are some techniques which can be of use when you are deciding how to deal with a desire or intent. Divination techniques. Using a divination system can be very helpful when examining your own motivations underlying a desire. What type of system you use is very much a matter of individual taste, and tarot, the runes, or the I Ching seem to be the most popular. Here is an example of how divination can be useful. Shortly before writing this book, the computer which I use for writing suddenly crashed, to the extent that it required repair. This left me in a pathetic state which any hardened computer user will surely sympathize with. Suddenly, the thought struck me that this would be an ideal opportunity to upgrade, like an idiocracy upgrade, to buy a new system. I immediately began to try and generate strategies which would allow me to purchase a new model, without overburdening my financial resources. At the same time, I began to cast around for suitable models at a good price. I rapidly created a situation where the desire to gain a new computer was prominent in my mind for a good deal of time. Soon, the situation became frustrating. My bank declined to loan me the money I required, and other possible routes for generating the money required were not immediate enough. I wanted a computer now, like a spoiled child, Having enmeshed myself in this tangle of desires and become frustrated and annoyed, I decided to see what my tarot cards had to say about the matter. The result was very explicit and shocking. The tarot cards pointed out that me trying to sustain a loan at the moment would have poor long-term consequences, that I really didn't need a new computer anyway, and that it would be more realistic to repair the current machine. Looking at this reading, I felt a great sense of relief and amusement at myself. This incident also gave me an insight into how we let our desires take control of a situation and blind us to alternative possibilities. If you perform divinations, you must be prepared for answers or perspectives that do not necessarily fit in with what you want to see. A useful way to regard divination systems is that they are old and trusted friends, people whose views you respect and whose advice you would readily accept. By ignoring the results of a divination, you are fooling no one but yourself, demonstrating that you are not really interested in having another perspective on the situation in the first place. SWOT analysis, SWOT. The SWOT acronym stands for strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, threats. It can be useful sometimes to examine a situation prior to taking magical action in terms of these 4 points. Strengths refers to the strength of your position as regards to the desired outcome of the intention, such as pathways available, see below, any information that you have access to that will strengthen your position, or anything that allows you to focus on the most appropriate factor to attempt to influence. All these things should be listed. Under weaknesses, you might consider possible weak areas which might interfere with the actualization of your intent. When considering opportunities, look at factors such as timing. When is the optimum time to enchant for? Is there a situation which is likely to increase your chance of success? Finally, threats. This refers to any possible negative consequences of your enchantment. To use the SWOT analysis, first frame your general or surface statement of intent and then analyze it in terms of the above divisions. If you find that there are more weaknesses and threats to your enchantment, then it may well be wiser to consider another approach to the problem. With regard to my I want a computer now desire, I quickly found that when subjected to the rational SWOT procedure, that there were more weaknesses and threats to the success of an enchantment to bring in a large amount of money than there were strengths and opportunities. Obviously, another approach was called for. In this particular instance, I cast a sigil to call forth help from other people, which was indeed forthcoming. Alright, there it is. We are finished with part 31 of Condensed Chaos, and we will be back tomorrow with part 32. Till then.